and it can become like, like unrecognizable, I've seen it like this way, it's like a tree that's fallen over, isn't it? And it's like got a branch coming up there, or very typical of what we get. So if a tree grew in that direction, and then it's going to have trees growing up it, trunks. But I mean, it just looks like a landscape on the surface for most of it. See all staining? Is it like we get on cliff sides? Again with staining. Past its left. Oh, it does the trunk. I don't know, it's been cut. It looks a bit flat, so I mean, I've got all these staining down here. As another example, I see how when it's scorched and burnt, it starts to melt and it becomes its own segments. So as it's doing that, it forms these patterns, and they all look like they're all jigsawed in together perfectly and stuff like on bottom and stuff like. So like a lot of megalithic buildings kind of look like this. Look like they've got that kind of brickwork. And maybe originally it used to be all smooth, and the parts which are, the sunken in bits have reduced, or all of it's reduced and created this shape, because it had burned, it had been scorched, and then once it had rained, it's cooled it off. That's Marienberg. So like when we're talking about the marshmallow bricks or the ballooning effect that they have, this is like it, but the surface of a wood was much more closer, you know what I mean, or slightly closer, and then it's all reduced and become its own parts. See, like it's one piece, but it's suddenly become loads of pieces. But it's all uniformed, almost. There's a bit of randomness to it, but it's got a particular pattern. Like these columns here and stuff like that kind of thing. You could say that this were a building and it's all melted. You know what I mean? And that kind of looks better than, well, some of the melted buildings I've seen and stuff. Another tree laid down. Almost burnt out. You see, it's all like white and grey, ashy. You know what I mean? That's, once it rains and stuff like that kind of thing, most of it's gonna. You see these shapes here. Like, part of the structure, somebody's built a wall if you were tiny, you know what I mean, and stuff like how, how what's done this to landscape. So like a previous picture I showed you. All individual bricks. Used to be all one chunk, didn't it? One piece of wood. It's all burnt. I mean, there's barely any tree left. It's like just these core little bits of the tree which is kind of like remaining. So like, what the potential for what's happened to the world, and the amount of population and housing that could have served if it were a giant tree, and how much it's reduced because of that and stuff. And also, if it were a giant tree, it wouldn't be able to sustain that weight. If anything wasn't overbalanced and all that kind of stuff, it's going to tip over and stuff. It being wood, it's lighter and all that kind of thing, but this is National Park, Organs National Park, Nambia. I started looking for mountains called Burnt Mountain. There seems to be quite a lot of them. So this is one side of it. It shows you're all not quite hexagonal, but I think it's the same thing though. This is the Burnt Mountain. So it's all caved in. It's all buried itself with all dust and ash, and maybe it were volcanic at some point. Or maybe it just burnt out, because that's also a potentiality. That's another part of it. You see all black, stained coal, ash type of stuff, like, and you can see a chunk of wood, layers, kind of thing with rings. And landscape, what it's done to it, what it looks like. It's kind of like, at the bottom of them stumps which have got like ash around them. Another angle on that. Different brightness of day, so you can see blackness of it. And also the red in these parts. So it's yellow there and red there. And you got it again here. You got all your red. You see there. You see all your red bricks, stones, and they're kind of like the red brick, aren't they? From like clay and all that kind of stuff. Like, so you get different coloured clays, don't you? You get grey, you get red, you get like a khaki colour, maybe yellowish, like that. And that's like more to do with sandstone of like the wood which is there. This is all stained from like the ash pan out of fire. If you've got nails in your wood, that kind of creates dust, and that kind of creates a red staining in your fire. You know what I mean? Or whatever else. You know what I mean? All of that. It just looks like what you get out of your ashtray for your fire. Not cigarettes. It's a different kind of ash. But but yeah, so also, like, you compare that to your painted deserts. So then that's why you got all your different colours and stuff. If you had copper in between the layers and all that kind of stuff, like, it depends. I'm not really sure how that kind of works and stuff. I'm sure Hangman mentioned something about it. But in one sense, you'd have copper going through the entire layer. And stuff like that. Okay, so it depends how it is, kind of thing. But anyway, so this is on way to that Burnt Mountain in Nambia. But yeah, just for like local surrounding rock formations and stuff, like, I thought, it's like worthy of that kind of thing. You got like tree rings, maybe it's part of a stump, and the rest of it might have been burnt away, and all that kind of thing. Another burnt mountain, one in America, Utah, I think it is. This is Canary Islands in Spain. So we've got those columns, but how they look burnt. It's either following that same pattern. It's all broken up and singed in that kind of, in the way it does, instead of being like perfectly smooth, like that one, which has probably been covered up. all carrying that trademark of burnt wood kind of thing. If it were melted, it'd be acting differently. And you can't tell that these aren't buildings. You know what I mean? It's your typical basalt column stuff. I don't really think calling them basalt is appropriate anymore, really. So yeah, like the stems of wood, which forms the entirety of the tree. So you've got all, you know, you can see that it's all formed, you know, I mean, all the lines are coming up and stuff like that. For them to say that that's lava, kind of really throws things off in a way. And again, you know, I mean, how it looks different at the top. There's so much debris and all these kind of things that's buried it all. I don't know, it's a good picture. More singed evidence of it. I think Weathering does it as well, but I mean, we've got a lot of areas where the weather's not done it, you know? So, like, we've got, you know, like that clean one there. Obviously, the front one's fallen away and stuff like that. So, the burnt one is not there, is one way of looking at it. Again, you're seeing it. You see how, like, how that burn angle, it's an appropriate angle for things to burn if it's got like a challenge in that kind of sense and stuff, like to burn through. And you see it all there. This is clean. They're singed, but they're on a outer layer to this part. This part's smooth, isn't it? And then it comes out for that. So that's on top. That's that layer, and then that. You know, I mean, you can see it goes in there. These are burnt, but that's okay. So the top part of that will probably on fire, and it does give a bit of a melted look. I'm sure it's not though. You know what I mean? Because it's like it's just that burnt effect. And you also have all the ash which has come down. I imagine it's filled all these gaps in. You know what I mean? And that kind of gives it a bit of a drippy effect. But I just think it's filled it in, and the rest of it's been like scorched and then filled in. Just to give it, you know, which is giving it the look that it's got today, kind of thing. I like that one because you can see patterns on it there, and then you can see it there. They're quite like a wideness to it, kind of thing, thin and wide. And not all of them, like you can see tops of them and stuff. Again, like reptilian skin or peaks and troughs on ocean surface. Another burnt mountain. I can't remember what that one is. Yeah, you see very inconsistent kind of pattern. Well, it's the same pattern, but it's like you can't see what it used to be. It's either that was all scorched, burnt. It's like, you know, it just remains of it and stuff. Another burnt mountain. There's quite a lot of burnt mountains. I gave up on it. So we've got burnt trees, you know. Another example, you know what I mean, all ash and you know what happens to it and stuff. You know, imagine that were like a mile wide, you know what I mean, or potentially. I want to talk about this, but I've run out of time, so I'll have to leave it till the next one. So there's going to be a part 4. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you all later. Cheers.